Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Working in Hockey podcast. I'm your host, Nick Bones, and today I'm joined by Hannah Garrity, currently the equipment manager for the men's hockey team at the University of Calgary Dinos. Hannah, super excited to chat here today. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing great. Like I said, currently working with the Calgary University of Calgary Dinos there. I know that you also just recently had the honor of working with Team Canada and their U18 female hockey team. Tell me about that experience this summer, how that came about, and let's dive right into that role.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the U18s was definitely a good time. It was super fun, very informative with how heavy Hockey Canada travels because it was in Ontario and their home base is here in Calgary where I am. So yeah, they definitely travel with a lot. It was really cool. I still am kind of processing it all and I got back like 2 weeks ago, but really neat. All the girls were amazing. I was there with another equipment manager that I know quite well. He's the equipment manager for the Kamloops Blazers this year. um so yeah, we definitely worked really well as a team together there. So there was two teams. It was a selection camp. We played 3 games against each other. And then cuts were made, selections were made. I stayed for an extra couple days because he had a league meeting. I got to watch a couple games, Canada versus the US, which was really cool. Got to help the US move in and see kind of how they travel and what they travel with. And yeah, it was a really fun time for sure.
Awesome. No, that sounds like a great experience to, like you said, be able to soak in how different teams, countries even do that there. For those who may not know the intricacies of the Canadian national hockey team's schedules and day to day, as you and I do, how long is an event like that? How many days, how many games, how many days did you spend in the rink getting ready for them to roll there?
Yeah, so it was a total of 2 weeks there. The first day that we got there, the players and stuff weren't even there. We basically got there, kind of looked through all the gear that we had. It had got sent to us from the U17 boys tryouts. So a little bit different, girls versus boys. There was a lot
Sure.
of large helmets, not a lot of smalls, kind of different stuff like that that you don't really think about. Yes, we got there the first day, kind of unpacked everything. We played 3 games against the US, 3 games against each other, and there was 4 teams total there. So we had our U18 team, and then we had the women's development team, and then we had the US U18 and the US development team as well. So yeah, we were working really closely kind of together. We had a good group this year for sure. All the girls are, willing to help, but I think the longest day that I pulled at the rink was 19 hours maybe. So yeah, it was definitely a grind. That was cuts day because you have to go, pack up the girls that get cut, you pack up their gear, then move everybody else into one room, get all their stuff set up. Then you have to go back to the hotel, sew the name bars on, of course, drink a couple beers as you do. Yeah, so yeah, that was a long day. And then the next day we had to get up at 6 a.m. for cuts. We were up at until 3 sewing name bars on. Yeah. 3 hours of sleep, super good, right back into it. Didn't get a nap, but it is what it is.
The
Caffeine.
life of an equipment manager. That's what that is. Two
Yeah.
week event, 2 months worth of work, right?
Yeah, seriously.
Awesome. Well, take me back a little bit here to a younger Hannah growing up, playing some high level hockey yourself, playing some other sports. How did you first get involved with the game? When did you first realize you might want to get into the equipment management type of stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So I played hockey. I've been, playing sports since I was 6 or 7 years old. I started playing ringette when I was 6 because that was the big thing. Started playing hockey when I was 9, kind of got to high level when I was 15, grade 10-ish, I feel like, as most people do. Moved away from home to play for a little bit there in high school. Ended up injuring myself, as I feel like everybody tends to do, most people tend to do. So decided to stop playing just to kind of nip the injuries right there. Um, and then I went to college after high school and emailed the coach that was on the college team that I was playing or that I was at, that I was supposed to go play for. And yeah, he said, why don't you come and manage a little bit? So I did a lot of the general manager type of roles first. So, booking buses, ordering team meals, doing stats in the stands, kind of just like an all around sort of a role. Um, the men's equipment manager, his name is Jordan McKenzie. He actually got me into equipment managing. I would be at the rink on the ice like 6 hours a day for a free skate, and I'd come off and be like, hey, can you sharpen my skates? And he, eventually kind of showed me how. And I got a retail job working at a pro hockey life close to me here. So, learned a little bit more about skates, gear, all kinds of equipment, how to fix everything. And he kind of showed me that, it takes a lot, but once you know what you know it and you can do it. So yeah, he kind of, inspired me and influenced me to become an equipment manager. So when the girls team equipment manager left, I decided to step in and kind of take that role over from him. um, you know, Learned, and I'm still learning every single day, but learned a lot from Jordan and the other guy as well. And yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. It was yeah, Jordan was a big influence on me.
That's awesome. And I think you took an opportunity, not to be too corny, but you took a negative and being injured and not being able to play and turned that into a newfound passion and kind of career path for yourself there, whether it was inadvertent or completely intentional there. That's awesome. Talk to me a little bit more about, you mentioned kind of sharpening skates was the intro there. Talk to me about some of the intricacies of the craft, the different things you have to learn, the things that people may not think about when they think about equipment or hockey gear.
Yeah, definitely. I think the one big thing for me going from working with a women's team to working with a men's team is women like to be way more pitched forward on their blades. So I sharpen their blades like a specific way to do that.
Interesting.
So when I went to the men's side, I kept sharpening them that way. And all my guys came up to me and they're like, the toes are way off on our skates. And I'm like, weird. Okay, interesting. Whereas they really like the middle of their skate to be done. Um, Women are also way lighter on their feet. So they use a lot of like 7/16, 3/8, half-inch type of a sharpens. Whereas my guys now, a lot of them use like 1 inch, 5/8, an inch and a quarter. And it's just like a little bit of a different kind of tweaking to like the skate sharpening. Yeah, another thing people probably wouldn't think about is like extra stuff added onto gear. So a lot of my guys like their gloves to be shorter because their hands are tiny, but then that leaves that space where the elbow pad and the glove kind of break. So they have, extra protection and stuff that can be added for that. But like I have to sew that all on by hand. Sewing machine doesn't go through, elbow pad protection. So I get to sew that all on by hand and stuff. But yeah, it's definitely interesting coming from the women's and going to the men's to kind of see the differences like that.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting about the skate blades, especially the different weight transfer and where people like to find their balance, I guess. You mentioned shifting towards the men's side of things there from the women's team at your first stop. So currently today you're working with the University of Calgary Dinos. I wanted to touch on just simply the fact that you're a female equipment manager, something that isn't as common, I'll say, in the men's game these days. I think that's super impressive and kudos to you. Talk to me about that relationship of working with the guys and building that trust with them and being able to prove your skills day in day out with them.
Yeah, definitely. It was a transition for sure, with the female team and even with Team Canada just in the last
Mm.
couple of weeks. Like the biggest difference that I can think of is just me being able to go into the room
Yeah,
and like get the laundry and get the
for sure.
skates. Whereas like I can't do that at home. So they have to bring everything to me, which is totally fine. And, we've kind of come up with a system. The equipment manager that was before me was a guy. So it was a little bit of a transition for the boys to, text me, bring their skates to me instead of me having to go and get them and like taking the laundry out. So I'm not at the rink until 4 in the morning on game on
Yeah.
home and homes. But yeah, it's a transition for sure. And just building up the trust to them, it was pretty clear for the first like 2 months that their guards were pretty up about, oh, you're like a female and we don't know like what we can and can't say around you. And then, after probably November, everyone got a little bit more comfortable. We did a little bit of team building. So everyone got a little bit more comfortable. And now, yeah, they, say whatever they want, do whatever they want, doesn't matter. And Yeah, they're all really respectful too. Like going into it, hockey boys always get a little bit of a reputation, say, for maybe not being the most respectful people towards women sometimes. But I was pleasantly surprised when I got there. They're all a lot older, like they've all done their 5 years junior. So they're a little bit, most of them are older than I am. Some of them now coming in are younger. Super respectful. Just it was a really nice surprise actually to go in and every time I talk to them about something, they all clap me out of the room, and yeah, they're just really great all around.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome to hear. And I think a general statement, I think we're starting to see a lot more of that male-female integration in different sports, but hockey jobs in particular, whether it's the Kraken hiring the first female coach, whether it's some of these AHL teams, AHL refs, even and equipment managers too. I think it's awesome to see that a little bit more blending of the genders there with some of these roles and job opportunities. I think we're only going to see that continue here. Talk to me a little bit more about your role day to day with the Dinos there. If it's a game day, what time are you showing up? What preparation goes into it the day before, and what time are you packing up and heading home at night?
Yeah, so game day typically the day before. So if we playing on a Friday, I'll go in on, the Thursday. We usually last year we practiced at 4:30, ended at 6-ish. Wait for all the guys to be done. They do their own laundry in the week, which is a lifesaver, absolute lifesaver. So they, do their own laundry after everyone's gone. I kind of go and set up the room. So put the jerseys up, make sure everybody has the right size socks. Yeah, we're a Nike school, so Nike has a little bit different sizing of socks than like a Bauer and stuff like that. They have some weird sizes, so got to make sure that everyone's got the right size. Put in. I have a little cart that I use, so I put towel over the cart, put the tape on. They're very particular about how much tape gets put out, how much wax, all that type of stuff. Put out some extra socks just in case somebody, has the wrong size or whatnot. On the cart too. And then, yeah, after that, they will usually bring me their skates to do. So then I'll, post up and do probably 15-ish pairs of skates the night before. Coming into the rink the next day, sometimes I'll save a couple pairs just to kind of get me into the zone. Last year I worked a corporate job as well, so I was coming in a little bit later, so it's kind of like two full-time jobs in 1 year. It was crazy. So yeah, coming in on a Friday, maybe do a couple pairs of skates, and then putting pucks on ice, cutting sticks, putting out tape if they need more. Guys will come into me and say, hey, I lost my neck guard, I need wrist guards, my socks have holes in them, all kinds of stuff. They'll bring you game day. Games for us usually start at 7, so warm-ups at 6:30. They do their own puck stacks and stuff like that. I don't do any of that. They like to do it themselves, so all good for them. And then yeah, setting up the bench, so we bring out all the extra blades, the bench bag, so that has just scissors, extra tape, electrolyte type stuff in case they ask me for it instead of the athletic therapists. Stuff like that, super easy. And making sure everybody's visors are tight. Sometimes they can get a little bit loose on the sides and then they fall down while they're playing, which is never fun. Yeah, so making sure that's all good as well. And then play the game, hand out sticks if I need to, change blades, all that type of stuff. And then on Friday nights I do the laundry, so on weekends they don't touch anything. So they bring out the jerseys and stuff. I'll do the jerseys and socks in one load, hang them to dry, and then they'll bring me out their Under Armour, do that in one load, dry that, do the towels in another load. And then if we're playing a team that's from out of town, so say like a Saskatoon, Regina, UBC, any of those teams, they'll bring me their laundry as well. So then I'll do their undergear and their towels as well. So all in, usually I get to the rink on a Friday at about 2, maybe 1:30, and I'm usually out by about 3 a.m. most days. Yeah, so it's definitely a grind, but it's fun. It's good work. So
Yeah, no, definitely a grind. And I think the one thing that you touched on near the end there that I always think is super cool, and I don't want to call it a cult, but the equipment manager bond is very strong, right? I feel like anytime I talk to an equipment manager, anytime I see an equipment manager, they're hyping up their other equipment managers, they're helping them out when they come to town. Talk to that kind of relationship that an equipment manager has with another equipment manager when they come in on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year I can say we had in Canada West, which is our division that we play out of, we had three female equipment managers, which was
Oh,
crazy. That's like never happened before ever.
that's awesome.
So UFC had one, MRU had one, and then McEwen has one as well. So that bond is even stronger than just
Yeah.
like a regular bond. But yeah, we we hype each other up, make sure that everybody's taken care of. There's been a couple times our rink is definitely a little bit aged, starting to show its age a little bit. So some of the times if you have a glove dryer and a skate sharpener plugged in one outlet, it'll blow the circuit and then neither of them will work. So there were a couple times last year where, equipment managers would run to me and be like, "Can you use your skate sharpener?" And, you just let them in the room and say, "Have at her, no problem." And a lot of teams, when they fly, don't travel. So somebody, blows out a true tongue or, blows out a holder and they need to come use it. I mean, it's no sweat off my back, got to help each other out.
Really, that was the most equipment manager answer possible. No sweat off my back, go for it.
Yeah.
But I think the other thing that always jumps out to me with equipment managers, playing some crappy junior myself, working with some OHL teams, the level of organization that it takes to be an equipment manager is absurd. From the socks, from the extra sticks, like you guys have hundreds of sticks on hand at any given point. There are hundreds of rolls of tape, and like you said before, every player is so uniquely different in what they want and how they want it. And you have to know, hey, this little Velcro patch is for so and so, and these laces, they're 2 inches longer, they're for so and so. What sort of systems or practices have you put in place to enhance or increase your organization over the time being there?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. There's a lot of organization. So I went to college. I got a degree in business and marketing. So it kind of set me up a little bit with that organization stuff, keeping a schedule of when stuff has to be done and, putting different systems in place to be able to organize everything. But yeah, a couple little things from last year. There was one guy on my team that he didn't like his skates to be honed at the end. He liked having like a super aggressive outside edge. So then that was one thing that I had to keep in mind. So every time I did his skates, I couldn't hone them, but everybody else's I had to hone. And then, another one would come to me every 4 games or so and say that his stick blade is floppy and needed a new stick. So, I'd have to get him a new stick and stuff like that. So just keeping little things like that in mind. And then obviously keeping hundreds of Excel sheets, I feel like, of all different kinds of inventory, of all your tape, of all your laces, all your sticks. And then when somebody comes and gets a stick, then you have to take it off and then you get a new stick order and then you have to, count it all again. And people want to get custom sticks. So then you have to keep track of all of that stuff on top of everything. And people needing new gear. Lots of my guys right now have worn their skates out like crazy. So they all need to go get, new skates and then who got new skates last year and who needs new blades and what kind of blades you use. You put bigger holders on your skates. And it's just, yeah, it's crazy. My guys are pretty good about, reminding me, being like, "Hey, I got new skates. I need new holders on them." I'm like, "Yes, thank you. I will do that right now." And yeah, but just, keeping Excel sheets and keeping little notes and stuff. I always have like a notebook in my pocket
Yeah,
to like write down little things that I'm like, yeah, I need to do this. Yeah, I need to do this. And then my whiteboard at the rink is like full of things to
just a
do every day.
disaster.
Yeah, every day I'm like, okay, I got that done, but now I need to do this. Now I need to write that in that spot. And yeah, it's craziness. And then, things will come up. Like today we had a holder break in practice. So had to do that instead of, go pick up an order somewhere. So I have to go do that tonight or tomorrow morning or whatnot. So yeah.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But by all accounts, it sounds like you have a good group of guys there. And like you said, when they're a little bit older, college, university age, maybe a little bit more mature than in junior or otherwise. Hopefully, their egos are aside. They're helpful. They're respectful. They understand the process. I know that that's sometimes a gripe I've heard with some junior hockey equipment managers is like there's so much roster change during the course of a season, right? Most of your guys are going to be there for majority of the year. You have your roster, they're in school, they're not switching out mid-season, but sometimes in junior hockey or the lower levels, and you get 10 new guys in December, and some of them are divas or otherwise with the way that they were treated before, can definitely make an equipment manager's life difficult.
Yeah, definitely. So I've heard.
Yes, yes. Well, moving forward from there, Hannah, I always try to get into a little bit of advice here towards the end of the conversation. You've had a couple of different stops now. You've been able to work with a couple of different teams, both female and male side of things. What are the biggest lessons and pieces of advice that you've picked up along the way?
Yeah, I'd say one of the biggest things that, I feel like everybody can use, not just equipment managers, but just always have an open mind to learning and being able to take accountability and say, hey, I don't really know how to do this. I don't know how to do this. I should probably know how to do this, but I don't, or oh, I've forgotten how to do this. And being able to reach out to people. Before we went to nationals last year, I had a guy come in and just look at my blade master, make sure that it was all set up properly, reset kind of everything, and then go from there. And even at Team Canada this year, the Kamloops Blazer guy taught me a lot about switching holders, how to make it easier for myself, so I'm not cursing at the wind while I'm doing it. Yeah, so definitely always keep an open mind. And keep learning, and then yeah, just never be afraid to ask for what you want too. It was a process to get to U of C. They didn't hire me initially. They hired somebody else, and then that guy couldn't keep up and couldn't do what they needed him to do. So then they reached out to me. So yeah, it's always, never be afraid to take what you want and really run with it and just go for it.
Absolutely. No, that's very well said. I've started asking at the end of these conversations too, and this is no shade to the dinos, but where do you see yourself down the road? 5, 10 years once you've successfully accomplished everything that you want with the dinos? Do you want to continue in the world of equipment management? Do you want to work your way up the ranks? Do you want to switch into something else? Where does Hannah see herself 5, 10 years from now?
Yeah, I love what I do. I say that it's the funnest but hardest job that I've ever done. But yeah, I definitely want to stick with equipment managing. I would love to see myself somewhere, in the WHL or junior somewhere. With Hockey Canada, we got to go see the Niagara Ice Dogs rink in the OHL.
Hmm,
Gorgeous. Like
great
their
rank.
facilities are amazing. Just walking in, I was like, whoa. So yeah, something like that would be really cool. And then I'd love to, be the first female equipment manager in the NHL. I think that would be really cool. As a kid, I mean, you're always like, I'm going to be the first female to play in the NHL, other than the goalie, because I'm not a goalie. But yeah, so I'd love to be the first one in the NHL. I'd love to, go into the PWHL even, learning a lot from, I got to chat with Steph, who's the assistant coach for Boston in the PW. She was at the Hockey Canada thing. She was our head coach for my team and then assistant coach of the U18. So it was really cool to be able to talk to her and just see some of her experiences going into the PWHL, and it's going to be a great league. I can't wait until they expand out west. Hopefully, having another Inferno team out here would be really cool. But yeah, somewhere like that, I'd love to go pro. I mean, NHL is obviously the big goal because it would be really cool to be the first female, but the PWHL is just as much as a goal.
Absolutely. No, very well said. I think the PWHL is definitely going to be growing out west. It's a matter of when, not if. So let's
Yeah.
hope for that. Hannah, this has been awesome. And like you said earlier, going to steal your line. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for what you want. If you're trying to work towards the PWHL guys, or you're going to race Hannah to be the first female equipment manager in the NHL, don't be afraid to reach out and ask for what you want in life. Hannah, this has been awesome. Tell the people where they can find you online or reach out if they have any questions.
Yeah, my Instagram is hannah.garrity, and that's, I mean, kind of always where I am. I feel like when I'm not running around the rink like a chicken with my head cut off, I tend to be on Instagram most of the time. So, yeah, that's definitely where you can find me at.
Perfect. Hannah, thank you very much. Good luck with the season ramping up here, and we'll chat soon.
Yeah, thank you.